this is happening. He's very serious about this. And so I think I just began to weep with joy because I was like, my children have a brighter future. At least for the next 4 years, we're going to create so many winds back in our direction.
You have to believe that there's some kind of higher power.
Yeah, it seemed like God was waking him up.
To hear something like that and said in that manner is just, it's not something it's not said anymore.
Well, welcome, Sabbath morning.
Yeah. Welcome.
Dude, it's been a while, but man, there's so much to talk about here, right? Because if you are a Latter-day Saint and you're concerned about the infiltration of Getty and Robert secret combinations in our government, but also that same sort of that ideology infiltrating the church, well, this is you're in the right place, and we're going to talk today about different Trump videos, so like Trump's speech and a couple of executive orders that we think would be very potent for the Latter-day Saint community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know about you. Okay, before we actually watch the inauguration, and we'll make sure it's short and we'll cut it up for people watching this. But what was your initial take when you saw the inauguration? Like how did you feel watching it? What was your take afterwards?
I'd probably say just jaw dropping. As I was watching, I think my jaw got like lower and lower to the ground. I have never heard a speech like that. And, you hear one political speech, you've kind of heard them all, right? So we're going to do this and we're going to do great and blah, 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 blah. And a lot of stuff you can kind of see through the smoke that they're blowing up your butt. And it's like,
that's exactly that's what I was saying to myself. I was like, wow, this is the first talk I ever watched where I was like, more smoke,
No, I was like, I just kept thinking to myself, is like, there's no way this can be real. Like, am I really hearing a lot of these things? Because it was just, I mean,
yeah,
I'm not trying to be someone that's like, oh, Trump's gonna save us all. Trump's the savior. Like, I've never thought that. I went to one of his rallies not too far away, and I didn't even get in because there were so many people. And I was like, well, it's just a dude, whatever. But this blew my mind. I couldn't believe all the things he was saying. And I think what was more amazing was the fact that I knew he meant it.
Let's see, I was also blown away just like that. And maybe if I had consumed all of his previous speeches and stuff, maybe I would not have been so surprised. But I feel like I kind of kept tabs on the news and got some ideas on what he was talking about prior to him getting into office. But I was also blown away because I was like, I was not expecting him to just lay it down, but not so. It wasn't in a way where it was like, my enemies flipping suck. Biden, sleazy, sleepy Joe, or whatever else. He spoke honestly and factually, so straightforwardly. Can I use any more, adjectives?
Transparently.
And transparently. I felt like he was calling out the elephant in the room that everyone had been seeing and suffering under, but not really been talking about it, right? It wasn't done in a malicious, in a political, theatrical way. Like, he's very good at political theatrics.
Yeah.
But he wasn't doing that. It was just kind of like, hey, America's been suffering too long, and this is changing. I don't know about you, but this sounds really. I'm also not a giant Trump fanboy, though I now feel a great level of respect, and I think we owe a lot of credit to the people who were, because that's what brought him back around. But I legitimately shed tears while I was watching it. I legitimately was like, holy crap! Like, this is real. This guy is securing the future for my children. That's what I felt like. But I guess let's watch it. And let's talk about some of the things that
So before we start, just I think what made his speech that much better too was that the level of the victory that was the election, right? He won the popular vote big time. He won the obviously the he won pretty much every single swing state or battleground state, whatever they're calling them, except for what, like Wisconsin or something, Michigan. I don't remember the exact results anymore, but he blew it away. He blew it away. So the things he was talking about are the exact things that he ran on, and it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't just the political theatrics. It wasn't just, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Like, he was like, I don't know, I've never seen so much transparency. And when you look at the last, I'd say 16 years of politics, this is definitely the most transparent I've ever seen. And his actions over the last week, or the last 2 weeks, whatever, week and a half now, I guess. We'll talk about that later, but like, what he's saying he means, and he's meaning to do. Like, he's not coming back with a vengeance per se, as like revenge, but he's coming to handle it.
He's coming back like Elder Holland post illness. That's what I feel like, right? Because Elder Holland, he's like, "Hey guys, been out for a time, lost my wife, I almost died," and the Lord basically said, "You like." He has a greater sense of urgency. He's like, "You just gotta work, right? You have not been doing it as hard as, or not that you hadn't been doing it as hard as the Lord wanted him to, but now it's like, cinch up the belt." Clench those butt cheeks and go. And that's exactly what Trump's like. It's almost like he has the same sense of urgency where he's like, hey, for 4 years, I don't know why I wasn't getting crap done. And now I realize after almost getting shot, and probably the Spirit's talking to him, it's like, your life on this, your time on this earth is finite.
We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.
Okay, so I know that sounds like probably to every other nation, it's like, duh, but I was like, he really means it.
Yeah. No,
right?
Because if you look at the last administration, they say these things. Well, America is great. America's really, but their actions, again, like we talked about so many times on this channel with Moroni, Captain Moroni and the prophets and stuff, like their actions followed their words.
Yeah.
We were not seeing that. We were seeing the exact opposite with the last administration of they're saying such and such a thing, but their actions clearly were detrimental and hurting our country and hurting us as the citizens of this country.
That's exactly right. And every American who isn't blind to the facts of our situation, right? We have awakened to our awful situation, as the Book of Mormon says. Those of us who are awake, we were like, yeah, we aren't being put first. We are being put asunder.
Yeah.
Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced.
Like, whoa, scales of justice,
violent
rebalanced.
and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end.
See, isn't that amazing? He's like, it's going to end. He didn't say, and Joe and Hillary and all those sleaze bags behind me tried ruining me, but I came back,
And he's not even talking about putting all them in prison. Like, contrary to what CNN and all these other news agencies say, they're always like, Trump's what did he say? It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be this when he gets back in office. He has not said anything, not a word, at least that I'm aware of going after Biden or any of these other people, but
who deserve it.
Right, they do deserve it for sure. But at the same time, he's expressing a level of grace and forgiveness that he was not offered.
I agree with that. And that's vital for him to do as a leader, as a moral leader, because it's like, hey, the past is the past. I'm here. I can't spend a single minute on things that are not going to make America better. That will make my own pride feel better if I can, beat them with a hammer or a hammer. What's it like a
gavel?
A gavel, yeah. But it's like you give it the wrong word. With a club, that's the word. Dadgummit.
Well, I mean, justice courts gavel.
Sure. But at the same time, it's very obvious. It's just kind of like, I'm not going to set a bad precedent by doing that. We've had 4 years of bad precedent. Biden set the last precedent hours before being removed from office. I'm just going to give preemptive pardons, which is not legal whatsoever.
I know, right? Who gives preemptive pardons to innocent people, for one? I would definitely love to see people like Fauci and all those people that just screwed us over with COVID. A lot of the, there's people in the Pentagon that screwed over 8,000 service members over the COVID shot.
Yeah.
They left the military and lost their, I don't know how many of them got, like, other than honorable discharges, which can really hose you over in the civilian world as far as jobs and things like that go. And not to mention, guys that have been in for over a decade that were coming close to retirement that are going to lost their retirement benefits and things like that because they left the service, because they weren't given a really fair choice. So yes, those people I would love to see get something thrown at them. Trump's executive orders and things are reinstating those things without going after the people that caused them, which kind of sucks. Like I was saying, sucks, but it's another feather in the cap of some grace and forgiveness, and like you were saying, like, we're done with it, we're moving on.
And that's amazing that he could do that. I wanted to also comment that since almost losing his life, he's been much more humble. There's a humility about his demeanor. Yeah. And like I said, I know to any commie LDS person out there watching this are like, are your lips getting chapped enough and sucking on his butt? It's like, no, like I'm just observing that there's a character change, because where normally he's like, he's very good at being just all riled up. This speech, and actually since him being into the presidency and even leading up to this point, has been a very different style, I'd say. So let me keep playing here.
Hold on, wait.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll get into this a bit more when he starts talking about God, but just notice the tone of when he mentions God compared to when Biden would mention God. So if we had clips of it, but you can find it, and I'm sure you can find them with Biden, but Biden was always saying things like, for Christ's sake, for God's sake, in an angry tone, talking, having to deal with problems, The
only thing, by being the oldest president, I know more world leaders than any one of you ever met in your whole life.
Yeah.
But you listen to the way Trump talks about God, right? At least in a public forum like this. How he does it privately, I don't know. I'm not privy to that information, but
your public image matters.
There seems to be, a change in at least the public image.
I agree. I totally agree with that. All right, here we go.
Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? So he starts talking about that. And national unity.
Returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before.
Martin Luther King's dream was what?
That we would be judged by the content of our character, right? Like,
not by what?
Not by the color of our skin, right?
Not by skin, not about what's between our legs.
Or let me put, or not even by the presupposition of our background, of our community, or anything else. Because really, when you say you're going to give someone like, we're going to give you a step up, what you're saying is, you're too weak, you're not good enough to do this. And also, your character must be pretty poor because you're willing to let me steal from Joey to give to you in order to give you a chance, right? It's like merited. Right? Yeah. Like you'll never grow and change your community if you don't put in the work to do it honestly. And it's not, DEI is not honest. So I'll keep
Wait.
Right.
I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
Oh my gosh. That blew me away, right? When it was like, wow, he's actually saying this crap and he means it. Now, how many Latter-day Saints are on board with this?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to imagine most are, and but the thing is too, he's not saying this in like, we're going to crap on anybody. He's just saying, if you're good, okay, earn it. Like,
yeah.
Make it your way. Make it how you need to make it or whatever, It's not this. This is where, even for me, right, we need to get rid of those questions when you hire people or on any form, anywhere.
Which I thought this is what he was implying, right?
Huh?
I thought he was implying that this would be removed from all that.
I hope so. I don't know. I mean, on every federal firearms transaction form that I have to fill out when somebody comes into my shop, race, gender, what is it? Yeah, race and gender are all over these federal forms. What does that matter? Who cares, right? All I need is your name. Well, honestly, if I had it my way, my business wouldn't even exist because you can just get a gun shipped to your house. But but no, like all I should have is your name, and that's it. Like,
and your ID, right? Like verification that it is you, right? That's like.
I guess
that's what you mean by name, though. Obviously, you weren't like my name's Jose. It's like your name is Alex,
right? But I don't want to have your address. I'm an idealist in this sense when it comes to the Second Amendment stuff. But so all these federal forms and just about any job you go to, right? You go to fill out an application form or whatever. There's race and gender crap all over it. Why is that in there? That has nothing to do with merit.
Not at all. And can I share with you kind of a story? I know I've shared this before, but when I was in Utah, right, which wasn't that long ago, and I was working at this before I went full self-employed. I was working at this one place, and it was a great company, very good LDS values, and I guess they got so rich they finally decided they needed to have diversity, equity, and inclusion training. And like, we need a committee of members of the company who are willing to participate in this, and then they can share what they learn with other people. And I was like, oh, I'm in. I am in. Bring me into here. Bring it on.
It will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
What?
Yeah. Okay. So at this point, I know this may sound so ridiculous, but I legitimately cried. Like not like, but like I was like tearing up, an ugly cry. I was legitimately tearing up pretty good because I thought, oh my gosh, my children will be safer. Hopefully, right? Like if we're going to really do this, I don't know, like I didn't have any doubts that we were actually going to do this. I saw this happening and there was no doubts. I was like, this is happening. He's very serious about this. And so I think I just began to weep with joy because I was like, my children have a brighter future.
At least for the next 4 years.
Yeah. And hopefully continue longer, but at least for the next 4 years, we're gonna create so many wins back in our direction. I think that people will be strengthened enough to fight back once evil comes back to reverse it all.
Yeah. When he said this too, I immediately thought of, I think it was last year or maybe 2 years ago when Congress and the Senate or whatever, I don't remember if they voted to do this or what the process was, but they struck down the, like the binary language in bills and in documents that they use. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that happening at all.
Yeah, the federal government, Congress, like the House and the Senate, right? I don't remember if this passed or I really don't remember. But they put it out there that we're going to strike down any kind of binary language in the in documents. Documents, things like that. So there weren't going to be any more he or her. Like it had to be like neutral words.
Really? See, I don't remember that. I do remember that Nancy Pelosi had passed a thing where it's like, if you misgender someone, you can be penalized and stuff like that.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So when Trump said this, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about what Congress had done and what this like. But this, spits in the face of that. And it's like, no, there's two genders, he, she. That's it. Like, this is basic biology, right?
It is anti God and his gospel to pretend as anything else, right? So there's a big difference. And this is where
Anti-truth.
anti-truth, yeah, it is anti-truth, right? This is where Latter-day Saints, those who are progressively minded, this is where they are unable to see that it is unjust.
Mm-hmm.
It is so unloving. It is cruelty to encourage people with this mental illness, to encourage them the wrong direction, to love them, but not encourage them to self-mutilate, self-harm, or to perpetuate this fantasy is the right thing to do, right? But when you go, oh, it doesn't matter, it's like, no, bloody does matter. Let me think. Your body is a temple. Gender is a unique or vital characteristic. What was the word they use? Either way, it's a characteristic of pre-mortal, mortal, and a post-mortal identity, right? So like, this doesn't change.
The family proclamation that says that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then therefore this is something that's very important. It's not trivial. There you go. Essential characteristic. There we go. I got the word. I read it. You lifted it up, and I saw
it. Yeah, I'm just perusing it real quick. Man. Gender, essential characteristics of individual, premortal, mortal, and eternal identity and purpose.
And purpose. Look at that. And purpose. So it's really important that like we can say we're not, first of all, this is wrong, so let's try to scrub it away because we don't want social contagion convincing our children to be a part of this, and we want to help those who actually have it and not create a norm out of it, because it's not normal, it's not healthy, it's not good, it leads to misery. There is no true joy, lasting satisfaction that can come out of this.
Yeah,
right.
And let's not get this misconstrued. We're not saying that these people shouldn't exist or don't exist. It's not like we're gonna go out and exterminate them. Like,
they need love, not exploitation.
It's just, let's bring reality back to these situations, right? Like when I was going through my PTSD stuff, I was making some pretty stupid decisions because my mind just wasn't where it was supposed to be, right? And how many other people, right, talk about, their social anxieties and this and that, and it affects your decision making, right? So when these people are like, oh, I'm this or I'm that, like, okay, you're struggling with issues. Let's face the reality, face the proper methods to handle this, and you can come back out on the other end of it better off, right? I'm a witness of that. My wife's a witness of that, because of me and the stuff that I was going through for a long time, probably like a decade or more. I was going through a lot of really crappy things mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? But you know what? You know what changed a lot of my mindset was when my wife hit me with kind of like a tough love of, hey, this, and there was a physical smack once or twice, which I totally deserved. But but it was just, hey man, like, this is the truth. You are not right. We need to fix this, right? And part of that too was like, she didn't take away my agency with any of this. She just said, if you want to continue down this path, you can go. But we're not going to be here with you anymore because we're not going to allow this behavior. We're not going to support this behavior. So straighten up and fly right, or it's over, basically, right?
Yeah.
And that was a lot of like talk like that was the kind of stuff that helped me realize, oh man, like this isn't right. This isn't connecting to here. This isn't connecting to there. Like, I got to fix this, right? So it's the exact opposite when you just affirm it, you allow it, and you know, because that's basically a form of supporting it, right? Even when you don't say anything, right? What's that phrase? Like silence is compliance or something like that?
Yes. Yeah.
So like, this is not going to exist anymore. This is what Trump is saying here, right? Like, there's two genders. We're straightening this out. Tough love all the way around. So yeah, man, like these are the steps we need to take. And again, we're not saying these people don't deserve to exist. We're not saying these people shouldn't exist. We're not saying we need to get rid of these people. We're just saying they need the right help.
That's right. And I don't know if I could say anything better other than think of someone who's so lost and you know, they're so emotionally deserted, right? They can't find their island. They're afloat in the ocean. That's how they are emotionally, right? Whether they have a support system or not, you can be so lost here. It doesn't matter who your support system is. You don't see the life rafts that are floating all by you. And so to then encourage someone to keep treading the water rather than encouraging them to pull into the life raft,
right,
is incredibly disingenuous. It's
or
evil.
Even to perpetuate the false methods that lead down to further paths of self-destruction, or that lead further down the paths of self. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
You,
We speak in English.
yeah.
So let's do this next part here. Let's do this next part here.
We do. My administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country.
Biden's asleep.
We will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God. Can't do that.
Boom.
Oh my gosh! Like that gave me chills, and it gave me chills again watching it just now. I mean, think about that. He's saying we're not going to forget our Constitution.
Pull that back up.
Okay, sure.
Just the image. I just want to see the image that you left it on right there. So, but keep going.
What I'm saying is, he's saying, we're not going to forget our Constitution, which, if you're a Latter-day Saint, is inspired of God for the freedom of all mankind. Meaning, if America's Constitution fails, the freedom around the world fails.
Yep.
And he puts it right on the head. We will not forget our God. Then he adds, cannot do that. And you can tell he's not pandering.
Can't do that.
Yeah. But do you feel like he was actually pandering to Christians?
No, that's why I wanted you to bring that image back up. Look at his face. That is not like a there you go, Christians, I threw that out there for you. No, look how serious that face is. And
let's hear it again. Let's hear it.
Because of the last year of practically getting shot in the face, practically down, coming within millimeters of life. Who knows how many other times he was, really threatened. I mean, there was another one on the golf course, but I guarantee you there's a lot more that we don't know about. But like, ever since, and I don't know his religious ideas before the assassination attempt. I think probably generally speaking, he was Christian in some way. But
or at least it just seemed like he probably at least thought and realized Christians had it right to some degree. But he was like, but I'm not much of a believer myself. And now it seems like it's like, I am a bloody believer. Holy crap.
Yeah. Right? We believe in personal revelation, right? And who knows? Whatever. I'm not going to speculate on what he might have received or whatever as far as personal revelation goes. But like, I would imagine that just in general, taking life more seriously because of a near-death experience like that you have to believe that there's some kind of higher power and all stuff. And
yeah, it seemed like God was waking him up, and this is obvious. So let's play it though, because that's exactly what he's saying here.
But just that look on his face, like he means it. He's not just saying, God is good, God is great. It's like, no, we can't forget God because everything balances on him.
Exactly.
been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history. And I've learned a lot
I agree
along
with
the
that.
way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you.
The Republic, not the
Those who wish to stop our
Yeah.
cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my
Any pandering in his voice? Anything deceptive in his body language? Sorry, I'll keep hit and play, but like, it's so sincere
life was saved for a reason.
for a reason.
I was saved by God to make America great again.
Well, I can feel people clutching their pearls with that statement. And I get it. It is not something we've heard in politics for,
Sincerely.
I have no idea. I've never heard it personally in in my short 37 years of life, but I would imagine that my parents probably never heard that. Probably not even my grandparents.
Maybe Reagan. Our parents probably heard it from Reagan.
It may be a little bit with maybe my grandmother in like the 40s, right? Because with World War II going on, I think there was a lot of actual references to God and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, 60, 70 years ago, like 85% of the country was Christian. Today, it's less than 50%, right? And so to hear something like this in today's political world, especially with the, separation of church and state and how misconstrued that is, but to hear something like that and said in that manner is just, it's not something it's not said anymore. It's not. And so to hear it like this on that stage was like, holy crap, this is awesome.
It was amazing. And it was like, okay, this is a man who hopefully God will be able to guide through his spirit to do really good things. That gets into the next part of this video, which is good things. Well, what good things is he doing? Executive orders, baby. Executive orders. Hey, thank you so much for watching so far. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and also like this video and leave us a comment. Let us know what your thoughts are about that inaugural address. But stick around. Tomorrow, we're coming out with the second part of this video. You're going to want to hear what we have to say about the executive order around removing DEI, which is pretty juicy, and also the deportation executive order. So stick around, look out for that video coming out tomorrow, and we'll see you then.